Hello and welcome, this is Nathan from Movement Focus. So today I'm going to teach you how to do the lizard crawl. A really kind of aesthetic movement that was made quite popular when Ido Portal taught it to Conor McGregor in 2015. I think it was 2015. Now we'll get into it straight away. I must excuse first of the sun coming through my window. Not much I can do with it. Should have recorded earlier, to be honest. But yeah, we'll make do. So this movement does require a base level of strength and mobility. Now, the main kind of issues I see people have with this movement when they are not able to perform it, number one is mobility in the hip flexors and the upper quad. And the second is the strength they have in their chest and their triceps. Now, I'm going to teach you how to do the movement, and then afterwards I'm going to show you some ways to increase your mobility in your upper legs and how to increase your strength in your chest and your triceps to help you better understand and do this movement. So, of course, the first thing we want to do is find a nice clear space. You're going to be sprawled out a bit like a lizard, so you're going to need a bit of room to move with, hard floor, grass, whatever's best. Okay, so the first step is going to be to get in a sort of a lunge position. Now, I'll demonstrate now. So what I'm going to do is I'm placing my left foot forward, my right foot back. I've got maybe just under double my shoulder width between my legs, just like that. You'll adjust as you go, so it's not too important to get the correct spacing straight away. You'll figure that out. Now what I'm going to do is from here, I'm going to place my right hand just in level with my big toe on my left foot. So kind of just out here. So you want quite a bit of space outwards. Now from here you might think, okay, I need to descend. So you might want to move your foot back a bit. As you're descending, you might realize you don't have the strength in your shoulder or in your tricep to go down at this level. So it might be a case of moving your left foot outwards and back a little bit to shift more of the weight outwards. Any way you do this is fine. It's very important to note that it is a complex movement, and especially for beginners, there are quite a few things you may struggle with. So if you can't, for example, get your toe in level with your hand and come down into this position because you have limited range of motion, perhaps in your your glute or your hip flexor or something like that, then very simply move your leg back a bit, move it a bit further out. And when you come down, it should be a lot easier on that kind of lack of mobility or range of motion you may have. So that is very simply the first step. So real quick, my Patreon link is in the description below. It offers things like monthly ebooks based around calisthenics and movement, personalized workout plans and nutrition consultation and diet analysis, all at a really discounted price just for you. So check that out, and yeah, thank you. Right hand down, left foot down, right foot back. So as you can see, I'm in this kind of position here. Higher up you have your leg, the more mobility you're going to need, because as you can see, you get a really deep stretch in your kind of glute and hip flexors there. So, bring it further back and there'll be less mobility required. So the first step, very simply, is to find your kind of comfort position, the range you're comfortable in, whether your leg is high or low back, whether your legs are close or far apart together. I very simply want you in a position just like this. So you're bending at the elbow like this. Your elbow isn't flaring out, so what we don't want is the elbow coming out like this. We want to, when we place our hand down, our elbow can twist in or out. We want to twist our inner elbow just like this. So it's kind of facing forwards. So hand down, left leg here, right leg here, twist that out. And that's going to bring the elbow more inwards, in line with our lat, as opposed to flared out. It just stops kind of overstress on the elbow and stuff like that. So that is our first position. Get comfortable with it, experiment, and feel how it feels to you. Okay, now once we have this position, we now need to swipe the left hand. So it's going to be a shift of weight. And at the same time, we're going to move our feet. We're going to push with our feet. But let's focus right now on the sweep with the hand. So very simply, we are in our position just like this. I'm just going to rest on the floor here so I can speak to you as I go. Ideally, you won't let your body touch the floor at all. But if you haven't got the strength, you can progress by kind of touching parts of your body on the floor. But again, we'll get into that a bit later. So from this lizard position, we're now going to swipe the hand. So we're down like this. What I want you to do now is swipe your left hand. So your right hand is down, we swipe with the left. So it's just like that. It looks a bit odd how it is by itself, but once we can now swipe that hand, we're now going to push with the legs and make that first step in the lizard crawl. Now, it's not too important if you swipe your hand far or very simply shuffle it forward. It's simply depending on the aesthetic you want to go for with this move. So, once we've swiped the hand, we're going to push with our feet and it's going to look something like this. So as you can see, the left leg is now pushing at the knee. So in this position, our leg is prone to push. This leg right here, the left one, can push. As we are swiping the hand, we want to be pushing with this leg. And that will then shift our body forward. And once the body is shifted forward, you want to place this hand to keep the stability, keep the strength down. And you then want to move this leg up next to your now free hand, your right hand. So it will look like this. So you see that. So we've pushed with the leg, we've swiped, we've made the contact now. This leg is fully out, straight. We now need a little twist of the hips to get this leg up. So it's going to look something like this from the other side. From this position right here, descend, swipe the hand, push the leg, twist at the hips. Now our right leg is next to our right hand. So it can be a bit of a complex movement. I do suggest that you record yourself and you reflect on your recording, compare it to me in this video and see if there's anything you're missing, because it is a complex movement and when you're doing it solo, recording yourself can be a great way to self-assess. So we descend, swipe with our left, push with our left foot, we twist at the hips to allow our right leg to come up. That is essentially the lizard crawl. The next step now is to do the opposite, the same steps. So sweeping the hand, pushing with the leg, but with the right hand. So it will look just like this. And there you have it, the lizard walk. Please let me know if you've had any trouble with this and I can try and help you in the comments below, because like I said, a bit of a complex movement. I can give you the demonstration and the steps, but you're going to have to kind of experiment with it and kind of see how it feels with your body, because there are a lot of moving parts. I'm now going to show you one way you can increase your strength of your chest and your triceps, and how you can increase the mobility you have in your upper legs. So first we'll start with the mobility. So very simply, we're in this position essentially with the lizard walk. Now, most people are going to have a lack of mobility in their glute when the leg is kind of like this. When you lower your body, your left leg, it's kind of stretching at the glute more than anything, just like that. So we're going to increase that range of motion by getting into a nice stretch, and the same with your upper quad and your hip flexors around this kind of region. So the best thing to do for this, I believe, the one exercise, there are quite a few you can do, but the one kind of exercise stretch you can do is to very simply lunge in this position. So what we're going to do is I'm going to place, for example, my right leg forward and my left leg is going to be flat on the ground. And now from here, I can lean forward, and the more I lean into my leg, the more I stretch the glute on my left leg. The further I lean down and roll almost to my right a little bit, the more of a stretch I'm getting in the hip flexor in my right leg. So it's kind of playing around in this position and trying to feel where you can kind of stretch the hip flexor. An alternative stretch / exercise you can do are Bulgarian split squats. You can Google them, YouTube tutorial. I won't demonstrate them here because I want to make this video not too long. Now, the next thing is going to be the strength in your chest and your triceps. So, when you're doing the lizard walk, you're looking straight forward and your chest is close to the floor. Your whole body is close to the floor, but it's not touching. You want your body to essentially be parallel with the floor. The closer you get to the floor, the tougher it will be as a resistance exercise. So, as you can see, I'll show you just now, you're kind of this close to the floor and there's a lot of chest involvement. What can you do for this? What exercise, resistance exercise, is best for this? You could do regular push-ups, but again, you're not really close to the floor and moving in that range of motion. So the best push-up exercise, I would say for this, are typewriter push-ups. They're quite tough in themselves, but you can do some progression. So, the typewriter looks like this. And as you can see, I'm very close to the floor. I'm moving in that range of motion, not too far from the floor. And it translates quite well to the lizard crawl. So, very simply, go down into this position. You want your hands, your fingers pointing outwards, not completely 90 degrees if it doesn't feel right. You can go kind of 45 degrees. And you want to come down to one arm, have your elbow kind of resting against your lat. And as you push out, you want to keep your chest at a consistent level. So you don't want to be coming up towards the middle and back down towards the ends, because the middle part is the toughest part. Now, if you can't get all the way down, there are a few things you can do. Number one is, of course, going to be to do it higher off the floor. So rather than going all the way down to the floor, you can just kind of do something like this. And gradually you'll work your way down to, the same level as I was doing earlier. And very simply, you could rest on your knees. It's the same progression as a normal push-up, really. So you can feel what one, is best for you. Of course, if you're putting your knees on the floor, use a bit of padding or cushioning. That is essentially it. That is how to do the lizard crawl. Complex movement, but I feel we broke down the stages of movement, and I gave you some exercises to do with mobility and strength. So hopefully with the combination of that, you can attempt it, build up your strength, build up your mobility, record yourself doing it, compare it to what I'm doing, and gradually work on it and better it yourself. You can, of course, send me some videos of you doing these movements via Instagram, and I will do my best to get round to you and answer any questions you have and kind of critique your form. That's completely fine. But yeah, that is very simply it. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think down below. And yeah, until next time, peace.